Hello, welcome to Soulprint Intuitive Tarot. I'm so glad you decided to join me. Okay, so two housekeeping things before I get started. Today I'm going to do a video on why no one's hair is on fire with regards to what's going on at the Justice Department. But before I get there, I'm sure most of you have, because he has an amazing subscriber base that has evolved very quickly. So I know other readers have been mentioning his name or talking about him. If you have not checked out Cash Peters, it's well worth checking him out. He does picture drawings that talk about the energy sort of in the moment and what is most likely to happen if the energies stay the same, which of course is really what all of us do, right? Because we zero in and we're reading the energies of the moment. But he's very clever and very witty and real fun to watch. So if you haven't checked him out, please do, because it's well worth your 15 minutes or so per video. It's really quite entertaining. Secondly, so I was not surprised this morning when I saw that my subscriber numbers had dropped, because it seems that happens as soon as I say things about particular candidates that people don't like to hear. So, and that's kind of bad enough, right? But, I then get inundated with my email address with people trying to convince me that certain candidates are amazing and wonderful, and this is why I should, be nice to them. I'm Canadian, I repeat. So, unfortunately, I have decided that until the Democratic presidential nominee has been determined, I will not be doing any readings about candidates as they move through this race. And I'm sorry if that disappoints some people, but frankly, I can do no good on this channel. One, if I'm being sort of inundated with negative energy, and two, if my subscribers are dropping as opposed to increasing, because then I'm not reaching as many people who perhaps might like or benefit from the information and messages that I share. So, so there we have it. So I just want to, it's February 13th, in case I didn't say that, and I just want to take a look now at what's going on. I mean, the Justice Department, oh my God, like Bill Barr is so blatantly interfering, and people are going, oh, this is unprecedented. Oh, this isn't good. Oh, this has become really political. Why isn't anybody's hair on fire? Why are people not screaming from the rooftops? Why are the Democrats not screaming from the rooftops? I mean, okay, so the Intelligence Committee or some committee has said, yeah, you know what, they're going to start investigating this. This isn't good. Well, okay, so what? They're going to investigate what? Bill Barr he has been emboldened, just like Trump, so he's not going to answer any subpoenas. He's not going to come before any committee and explain himself. So, what's going on? I want to know what's going on with the Justice Department. And, the reporters, they make me crazy. They go to Trump and they say, did you call Bill Barr? He doesn't need to call Bill Barr. All he has to do is send out a tweet, and Bill Barr knows exactly what Trump wants him to do, and Bill Barr is going to do that. So, it's sort of like I'm watching the coverage, and everybody's on and on about New Hampshire and who won and who didn't win and what that means for this one and that one. And they're sort of talking about this whole Justice Department situation as this other news story. If that Justice Department doesn't get under control, it doesn't matter who wins the nomination, because Trump has so much power amassed now with Bill Barr doing his bidding that Bill Barr can just open investigations on every single Democrat nominee, every single candidate right now. So I'm not quite understanding. So I want to ask the cards and see if the cards can give me some clarity on what's going on. Come on down. Okay, so U.S. Justice Department, U.S. Justice Department, U.S. Justice Department. All right. Well, so what we have here is that the Justice Department is going to continue to defend itself. It's going to continue to push back. It's these, these can be considered inquiries, people trying to figure out what is going on, trying to get some clarity. And, here we've got Bill Barr with a big stick, just, pushing them all back and saying, yeah, no, you know what, I don't feel any need to have to explain myself to you because, I am the servant of Trump, and what Trump wants, Trump gets. And because he doesn't feel I need to answer your questions, well, then surely I don't need to answer your questions. That's the situation there. You have the GOP burying their head in the sand because you have the likes of that Lamar Alexander guy and the Susan Collinses and whoever else spewing this nonsense about, oh yes, Trump has learned his lesson. He learned his lesson. He literally turned around in that moment and started becoming more emboldened and pushing back and making more insane and crazy demands. So the GOP is kind of going, uh-oh, maybe we made a mistake, but uh-oh, we're all scared of him. So we're just going to live in fear and we're not going to really question him. Now, I did hear somebody yesterday say something about the GOP are trying to figure out who has standing with Bill Barr to go and at least talk to him and tell him that this doesn't look good. Excuse me, it doesn't look good? How about, why don't we just, start flashing red lights, screaming corruption, corruption, corruption? So the GOP cannot be counted on or looked at to in any way correct this situation because they're just scared. They're all scared of Trump, and they were too foolish to not recognize that if there had been enough people that had come together to do what was right for not only the country but literally for the law and had gotten him out of office, if they had literally pushed him out of office, at least they would have cut the cancer out of the country. But instead, they turned their heads and says, it's going to be just fine. Don't worry about it. Well, you know what? It's not just fine. Make no mistake. If we think, okay, so there's been the Flynn thing, the Flynn interference, now all of a sudden the Justice Department says, oh, he doesn't need to go to jail. Don't be silly. Probation's just fine. And Roger Stone, oh my goodness, can't touch him, because him and Trump have been buddies for forever. Now, is it possible that the judges are going to push back? I think in Flynn's case, the judge may very well push back. And frankly, I would be surprised if the judge in the Stone case, who of course Stone was, tweeting out pictures of her in crosshairs, wouldn't be surprised if she pushes back. But of course, understand, as soon as they push back, Trump is going to issue pardons. And if anybody thinks that isn't what's going to happen, they also have their heads in the sand. There's so much going on behind the scenes. There's so much more we don't know about. There is so much more friction going on at the Department of Justice because Barr and Trump literally are completely intermeshed. It is almost as if they function with one mind. Trump thinks he wants it, Barr provides it. Simple as that. There's almost no daylight between the two of them. And Barr simply doesn't care. And because, frankly, there now is nobody left who can kind of rein him in. So this situation is going to continue. I am sorry to have to tell you. And there's going to be more stuff that comes out. And, is it possible that eventually somebody, Barr can be humiliated to the point where he's removed? Possibly. It's possible. It could happen. But it's not going to happen if the Democrats are not saying anything except, well, we're going to start an investigation. They need to be screaming from the rooftops. They need to be pulling out their hair. It should be on fire. So again, this would probably be a really good time for constituents of these members, whether they be Republican or Democrat, and maybe in some ways especially Democrat, that to let them know that they need to start reacting. This sort of gentle, we're going to investigate, is not going to really, really move the bar. Cute little play on words there. Move the bar in any specific direction. Okay, it's just going to continue to be status quo. And people are going to continue to be disappointed and sad with Trump's behavior and saying, oh, that isn't good. And I don't agree with that, except they're probably not even going to say that because, of course, then Trump's going to attack them. So the situation overall is not good. And honestly, the only thing that is going to start correcting this is literally a real show of strength, not only by the Democrats, but honestly by the people of America, who need to really at some point stand up and start saying, you know what, this is our Justice Department. And we really do demand that the Justice Department starts behaving and acting for the people of the United States. I don't know. Does the Department of Justice have a website? Do they have an email address? Just a question. He's going to continue to look away from the law. And this is Bill Barr is not a stupid man. He might be an evil man and he might be a corrupt man, but he is not stupid. And so what he does is not technically breaking the law. What he is doing is shattering all of the norms. And frankly, that's what Trump's presidency has been about, and that's what the GOP's behavior has been about. It is about completely destroying any behavior that was considered normal business practices. They push so far to the wall, and then they just kind of slide on by, because technically they're not breaking the law, even though what they're doing is definitely creating a lot of instability. And the other thing that you got to take into consideration, of course, is the fact that you have really amazing lifetime servants in the Justice Department who are leaving. And so who's the guardrails, right? Who can push back against this sort of behavior? Because the experienced ones, the knowledgeable ones, are leaving. And I'm not saying that there aren't smart and intelligent and savvy and honest and strong people still there, but at some point there has to be a little bit of a question about sort of like their morale and what it's kind of going to take to right this boat. Now, I don't want everybody panicking. This is not a bad news reading, okay? It's really not. But it is, it is sort of a call to attention. Pay attention to what you actually really need to pay attention to. And I would suggest energetically that in many, many ways, what's going on with the Justice Department, the State Department, and the Treasury Department are really, really important things to not lose sight of, to not kind of let fall off of your radar. Ultimately, if people start pushing back, and if the government starts pushing back, if the Democrats start pushing back, and really, create an environment where they're simply not going to tolerate this. And if they have to tolerate it, because really there is nobody who can change the situation, then at the very least, they are not going to be complacent about it, okay? You're going to have that the strength and the power of the law is at some point going to survive, and it is going to win. It's going to come out on top. But it's not going to come out on top without hard work by a lot of people. A lot of energy needs to go towards this. And please remember, as I read the cards, I really am reading the energy. Energy changes all the time. And so if the energy changes and the behavior changes, the outcome changes. However, if the energy stays stagnant because people are not reacting, then the energy doesn't change and the outcome ends up being sort of something less, I'm sure, than desired. So again, I want to also say that some of the Democrats have a few ideas or suggestions, things that they're working on, and they're going to try to get some momentum on. But again, the Republicans have made it abundantly clear that if you don't want to listen to a subpoena, if you don't want to testify, if you don't think you really should have to comply to oversight, it's fine. Don't worry about it. That is literally the battle that is going to be going on from now until whenever Trump is removed from office or when he leaves office. And I think that, you know, as I said, this really does feel like a call to attention, right? So we have the Republicans not being prepared to do anything, and we have Bill Barr absolutely not being prepared to do anything that would fall within the boundaries of the norm. So who is that left to? It's left to the people. It's left to the people. Because here's Trump, and he's trying to steal and take away everything he can. I said it yesterday, I believe, and I'll say it again. He does not care what he destroys. And more, I really get the feeling that him and Barr are really... they have a really, really strong and powerful past life connection. I want to say that either they were very, very, very close friends or they literally were brothers. And that is part of the reason that Bill Barr just simply has Trump's back. Think of your best friend. Think of your sibling, the ones you get along with. They have your back. It's not even a question of do you. You just know they do, just the same way you have theirs. And that really appears to be the relationship that is going on between the two of them and the dynamics that are at work between the two of them. So, yeah, again, as I said, this is not a bad news reading. What it is perhaps a suggestion that people pay attention. You have the Ace of Swords. You have the Four of Wands. These are good news cards. And you even have Judgment, and Judgment is going to rain down upon the heads of all of those who have allowed this travesty of justice to continue and to carry on. So there you have it, right? Got to keep moving forward. Got to keep moving forward. Got to keep pushing against what is sort of out there as the status quo. You have to get to a place where you're just really, really, you sort of almost like come out of the numbness, at least long enough to be indignant. And trust me, I understand numb. Okay, please remember, I am in these energies all the time, and I understand exactly how debilitating and exhausting it can be. And I say that as a Canadian, not as an American. I'm not for 1 second suggesting I am walking in your shoes, but I certainly am observing your shoes from, 20,000 feet. Okay, here we go. You've got the government. Fortunes will change in the favor of those who are fighting the fight for law and order, okay? Fighting the fight for what is normal, for what should be the way, the country has been run. But you know what? This is the thing, right? Your country survived for what, I don't know, 247 years, 250 years, whatever it is. And it took Trump and his cronies 3 years to destroy it. So certainly one of the things that you're going to want to look at is ensuring that whoever is running the government going forward has an actual plan to correct some of these norms and actually make them laws. As much as there are people who do not kind of almost want to, they can't take anymore, it's exhausting, they're depleted, they just don't want to hear anymore because it is so depressing and it is so discouraging. People are coming together. People are coming together. This is the thing, that Trump doesn't realize. And frankly, it's the thing that the Republicans don't realize. Good people are not going to stand by and let this happen. Again, you have good news here. You have the sun illuminating that which has been hidden, and that which has been in shadow, and it's going to really bring it to, the fore. So, again, you've got good news coming, but honestly, people, it is not without work. It is not without effort. I do not know, and I cannot speak for other readers or other intuitives, but I definitely can tell you that from what I am feeling, picking up and sensing, the acquittal of Trump on those impeachment charges has acted like a big wet bucket of water, sort of drowning out some of the flames that were passion, the flames that were really, we can do this and we can fight this and we can make it work. Some of those have gotten kind of a little soggy and drippy and wet. So they have to be reflamed, right? I hope this wasn't too depressing. That's not my intention, but it is definitely an energy that I'm picking up on. There really needs to be some indignation incorporated into the fight my amazing viewers are fighting, okay? And I'm all about positive energy, and I don't like the word fight, and I don't like the word war because I think it really does create some negative connotations that just become one more thing you have to fight against. But I love the words passion and proactive and involved. And I know that you are because I read your comments and I see how many times my videos are viewed and I see your thumbs up. And for those of you who continue to subscribe to me, I thank you. Until next time, take care, be well, and I'll see you soon. Bye.